I wanted to be at Texas State. I chose to be at Texas State. I'm from Texas. That was important to me. I always knew if the right guy got this job, you better watch out.
You better watch out. This is Win Now or Get Bent, episode 110. If you don't already know, I'm Kev Tardello, coming to you on Friday, July 14th, and we've got GJ Kinne. Nice 40-minute interview for you sickos. Catching up with GJ after he was on vacation, still doing some recruiting even from the beach in Hawaii. It's nice to catch up with him. Nice to talk about that recruiting class and talk a little bit about what to expect in the fall coming up. Just a great conversation. You know, a little spoiler on that one is he gives some hints on some new guys that he's really intrigued with, and one of them is a friend of the pod. You know, in fact, two of them. Now that I think back on it, he highlighted two of them that I've had on this pod. So really excited for y'all to hear that. And of course, we talk about Lindsey Scott Jr., now an assistant coach for the Bobcats. Remember him? Incarnate Word quarterback last year, was the field general for that number one scoring offense in the nation at Incarnate Word. He's now with the Bobcats as an assistant. Walter Payton Award winner as well, Lindsey Scott Jr. So that's exciting. Can't wait to get to know him and talk about him a little bit. But before we get to any of that, this episode is sponsored by Austin Patchmaster. Austin.patchmaster.com. Any drywall repair you need, any cracks in your ceilings, cracks in your walls, popcorn ceiling removal, maybe you punched a hole in your wall after a Texas State loss, hit up our guys at Austin Patchmaster. Austin.patchmaster.com. You can find them online there. You can hit them up on the phone, 512-200-3888. It's 512-200-3888. My guy Michael Clements over there, true Tech State sicko, Tech State grad himself. They're servicing the Austin metro area. Even if you're in Dallas or Houston, it's a franchise, so you can still call them and get a referral. They can still help you out in those areas. But if you're in this Austin area, hit our guys up over there at Austin Patchmaster. Austin.patchmaster.com. We are also sponsored by the Galindo Collective. That's Galindo Collective.com, thegalindocollective.com. It's a business consulting firm. They are a team of professional consultants dedicated to helping others realize their business potential through people, planning, and practice. Their services cover a wide range of areas such as business strategy, marketing, human resources, and financial planning. They offer full-service solutions on general business evaluations, but specialize in residential and rental properties, commercial operations, and construction. If you own property and want to maximize its profitability, contact TGC at thegalindocollective.com. Follow their social media platforms on Twitter at TGC_LLC and on Instagram and Facebook at The Galindo Collective. Shout out to them over there. Rick Galindo sponsoring us 50 episodes, hooking us up for Sunbelt Media Day. Can't thank him enough. Can't thank him and Michael Clements for sponsoring us this summer. Really appreciate them. True Tech State sickos. All right, so I'm going to keep this very, very brief for this one because I want you to get to GJ Kinne. Like I said, 40-minute interview, some good stuff in there. It's great to finally catch up with him. I've been bugging him for a good part of the summer, trying to get some time from him, and I'm glad he finally made some. Very appreciative to him. Excited for y'all to hear about that. Before we get there, though, I do want to talk about something we're doing here at Win Now or Get Bent. We are starting a Patreon account. Now, before you get worried, don't worry. The podcast is not going behind a paywall, video or audio. It will still be presented to you the way it is. On the Patreon account, this is something we're going to be offering a little different for some of you sickos that just want to support a little bit extra. I get messages. I've even actually gotten a couple Venmos from some of you out there, which helped us get a brand new camera. Really appreciate y'all out there. Y'all buying merch and doing stuff like that. And of course, our sponsors has really opened up a lot of doors of stuff we can do. But there's a lot more that we want to do. We want to, as specifically with merch, we want to give y'all some, not just the logo. It's cool to sell the logo. I mean, I'm wearing it right here, WNOGB.com. Love the logo, but we want to give y'all some cooler designs. Neither one of us has the capability of doing that, so we want to outsource it to like a graphic designer. We want to get more equipment. We want to be able to go on the road if we possibly can, and this is something that'll help us do that. If it'll be $5 a month to be on the Patreon. There isn't a tier system. It's just one. There's not any sickos more special than the other. You do have an option. If you do want to give more, you can up that a little bit. I don't know if you can lower it. I didn't check that, but that'd be pretty funny if you can and someone did. I wouldn't mind. Whatever, if you want to give $1, do it. But it would go a long way. I mean, what is that? $60 a year. That would go a long way for stuff we can do, even growing ourselves, growing our staff. Because even my producer, Zach Webb, the wizard over there, we've talked a lot about it. We don't want to do like a free internship for people. We want to actually bring people in that can grow and they have some actual stake in what we're doing. And in order to do that, we're going to have to grow and offer some of these options. Now, what will the Patreon offer? Right off the bat, it's going to be an exclusive Discord channel. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's almost like a personalized Reddit page, if you will, and you have to be invited to get in. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in there. You'll have direct access to me. We'll have direct access with other sickos. We'll get in there, maybe even think about what do we want to do with the pod? What are some ideas you guys are itching for? Maybe I'll bounce some segment ideas off you. I know we can do polls in there where we can vote on certain things, whether it's like, what do you guys think of this merch? What do you think of that? It's a way for you to feed me ideas as well. Like I know a lot of you come to me in my DMs with like, hey, you should cover this. You should think about that. This is it'll be a direct line to me and to all of us. Kind of creates a little community for us, if you will. I know most of you are on Twitter and all of that, but this is more curated. This is a little more intimate with everybody. We can all get in there and really talk about things that are important to all of us as sickos. So the Discord channel, that's the biggest one that I'm the most excited about, because I'm honestly excited to hear from y'all. And it doesn't even have to be me just like taking ideas from you. I don't want it to sound like that. This is me. You can get in there and talk with me about anything. It'll be very cool, especially with how social media, how it's kind of going. Twitter is up in the air, and then with threads and all this other stuff. This is a way it kind of consolidates it and puts all of us in one little area. So I'm excited about the Discord channel for sure with this part of Patreon, because I'm going to be in there a lot. And I'm also going to try and get guests in there, who, whether they're on with directly affiliated with the university or another media member or just whomever. I want to make that Discord channel a lot of fun, because that was the thing we've been talking about a Patreon for a while. And that was the thing that once we decided on that, I was like, okay, I can do that, because I don't want to just put up a Patreon channel and take money for basically nothing for this for something I've been giving away already with the pod. That's not how I want to do it. I want it to actually be beneficial, where if you do sign up for $5 a month, you are supporting the pod and you're getting a little something extra. So the Discord channel is one. Exclusive merch is another one as well. We'll send you that. You don't even pay for it. We're gonna, like I said, we're meeting with a graphic designer. We're doing a lot of cool things. So we're gonna have that. That'll be just for our Patreon people. Send that over to you there. And even in there, it's gonna be as in the Discord channel as subscribers. Paying subscribers, you have a say, and maybe even feed me some ideas. You want to meet up with me? You want to do like a Zoom hangout, anything like that? Hop in there and let me know. I mean, if you're in there paying that $5 a month, I'm willing to listen, and you have a say once you do that. So, and you don't have to be say you can't afford that. You're still a true sicko in my mind. You're here listening to the pod. I'm sure you're subscribed. I'm sure you signed up some of your friends' accounts when they weren't looking and subscribed on them. Maybe went to a public library, pulled up some accounts and subscribed on all those. Appreciate that. That does great things as well for us. So, but this is for those who just want to support a little extra, I should say. So, if you're out there and you want to do it, come on aboard. Come meet me in the Discord channel. We'll make Webb get in there too. We can make fun of him in there though. He doesn't mind. All right. Yeah, like I said, I want to get to GJ, so I'll do a quick plug on this. This is an unpaid plug, but this is for VictoryStarNIL.com. It is an NIL collective that the school has. I guess they've actually launched it or announced the launch last September. But when I talk to GJ Kinne, he brings that up as something that is important for recruiting, for getting some of these guys. I mean, we've seen how the landscape has changed with NIL. This is it's a marketing website put on by the school where you can have your favorite Texas State athlete endorsing your brand on social media, advertising campaigns, and special appearances. That's what it says on their website there. So go check that out. That's it's good that they have some of those initiatives. I saw TJ Finley posting on Instagram about it. So I'm sure that was instrumental in some of this big recruiting class. Obviously, when I talk to GJ Kinne, he can't outright say that. But I can imagine that helps out with some of these collectives and programs going on. So just wanted to bring some awareness to it. I may bring some more awareness going on just because I think that's pretty important for this school and these athletes and growing their brand and growing the profile of Texas State as well. I mean, this helps them get better players and everything. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick. Thank you to everyone here listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, go find a library, go to an Apple store or something, just start subscribing on all their devices and all that good stuff. It helps out a lot. Appreciate all of y'all. Thank you to TGC, the Galindo Collective, and Austin Patchmaster. That's the GalindoCollective.com for business consulting and Austin.patchmaster.com for any of your drywall repair needs there. If you have a business that you want to sponsor the pod, wnogbcaf@gmail.com. We're working on sponsors for the season as well. Man, lots of pitches for that intro. Sorry everybody. If you listen to all that, I appreciate that. You will be rewarded with a terrific GJ Kinne interview here coming up. Can't thank GJ enough for hopping on. Great to catch up with him. He's a guy who's so well spoken. Every time I talk to him, I'm like, man, he just gave me a ton of good info, and it feels good. Real genuine guy. But all right, let's get to it. GJ Kinne coming up next. Win now or get bent. All right, my next guest needs very little introduction. It's the head coach of the Texas State football team, GJ Kinne. GJ, how you doing today?
I'm great. Had a good workout with the guys this morning, getting after it, and not a better way to start my day than being on your new podcast, man. So I'm excited to be on here.
Awesome. I like to hear that. You're fresh off vacation as well. Looks like you went and hung out in Hawaii for a little while.
Yeah, I was in Hawaii. I went up to Michigan, got some good time with my family, got my beard growing out, I'll cut it before coaching school next week, but I wanted to grow it out, while I was on vacation, just kind of be free and just relax and hang out.
When are you going to turn it into a mustache? I was talking to a certain commit recently who said you might do it for him.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Coach Leftwich has the mustache, and you're exactly right. I forgot about that. I might have to get the stash going.
Hey, if you do it, maybe I'll copy you.
Okay, I like it.
Get some tan on our cheeks. So I just saw on Twitter right before you jumped on here, Lindsey Scott Jr. is joining your staff. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's got to be great for you. I know you guys accomplished a lot last year. What's his role going to look like, and what was it like bringing him in here, trying to get him to join the Bobcats?
Yeah, Lindsey's going to be a big time addition for us. Really helping Coach Leftwich in any way he can. Almost gave him the special projects title that I had back with the Philadelphia Eagles back in the day, because that's really what he's going to do. Just really anything that we ask him to. He's obviously going to be able to help the quarterbacks, help the receivers, off the field, and just really be a guy a sounding board for those quarterbacks. Big time player. He's going to be a big time coach. Just being around him already. Obviously, very knowledgeable of our system, which always helps when you're coming in. And like when I was a GA, my first GA job was with Chad Morris, and I played for Coach Morris at Tulsa, so I was able to bring value right off the bat just because I knew the system so well. So, he's been awesome. And another thing too is you talk about. I tell these guys all the time that. Life after football, he's going to continue. He wants to continue to play football. So I don't know if this is going to be a year deal or not. He just got picked up in the XFL. So if I had to guess, he's going to continue to do that once that starts back up in January. But he wanted to be back around the game, and I want to give him the opportunity to he wants to be a coach afterwards to start that process. And you handle your business as a player for me, and you go out there and you work hard and you demonstrate those qualities that I want to hire these guys. I want to give them opportunities, after football. And that's what the coaches that I played for, they gave me that opportunity. And that's why I'm here at Texas State today. So he's got a great future and big time opportunity for him. And I'm just excited. He brings confidence to the building. I mean, he's a Walter Payton Award winner. He threw for 60 touchdowns, had 71 overall touchdowns. He brings confidence to that room, and guys feed off that. He's just a winner, and some guys gravitate towards him. So he's going to be big time for us, and I'm just excited. Seeing him every day. It's been fun since I've been back in the office.
Yeah, I was surprised when this went down today because I was expecting him, like you said, to continue playing. I mean, so fresh
Yeah.
off his last season, that amazing season, that I'm glad he's still keeping that hope alive, and he can at least come in and dip his toes in the coaching water here for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's going to be. He's got some opportunities, and he's going to continue to work. And that's what I told him when I was like, hey, I'll hire you and we'll bring you on, but I want you to continue to work out and continue to do those types of things, because I know, you want to continue to play. So he's just, grateful for the opportunity and excited to, be around, Coach Leftwich and myself every day.
I know when we think about fall camp coming up here in August, well, the main thing everyone's looking at is 50 new players that you got in 2023. A lot of them are transfers, bringing them in, guys that can play right away. I haven't gotten to talk to you since y'all officially announced 50 back in June, but that's a lot of guys. It's almost like 2 recruiting classes in one. What was the strategy? Was that kind of the point, was like, hey, you know what? We have an opportunity to get a bunch of guys right now with the way COVID is and the transfer portal, or what was the thought process and strategy for bringing in so many guys?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to, get guys in here we felt like could win a championship, and some guys, want to be honest with them, whether they don't fit our system or whether they're not, good fits for what we want. And, they might be really good players, just not what we're looking for in our scheme. So, sometimes guys are down on the depth chart and they want to transfer and get in the portal, and some guys, don't. So it's a situation for us when that happens. We're always looking to upgrade our roster. I've been saying that from the very beginning is how can we upgrade this roster? How can, we put a championship caliber roster together. And I felt like we did it the right way, and being honest with guys, and so that was important, doing things the right way. And then the fun part is putting all these pieces together and grinding and looking at the PFF and finding guys that we feel like can fit our system. And you get guys like, a name that like a Sean Shaw and a Bo Corrales, like these guys have played in meaningful games before and have production, and to get them here and on campus, and the grind of recruiting them versus other schools, and finally getting them here and seeing them work out, and that part's exciting. Like there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of excitement right now, I think, around the building, and like you said, the only time you bring that many new guys, there's a part of it that it's just going to take a little time. Like this summer is big. Like we had one of our hardest conditioning days and work days this morning with Coach Youth, and there's some guys that are ready and guys that aren't ready, because some of them hopped in that portal, after spring ball or before spring ball and haven't really done. But you work out on your own sometimes, but it's just not the same as that group environment. So the competitive nature of it. So there's a lot of guys that are out of shape. They got to get in shape. They got to learn the system. But the good thing, especially on offense, defense will take a little longer. But on offense, the way we operate, especially the receivers, you can plug and play the skill position, receivers, running backs, tight ends. You can plug and play a little quicker than other spots, just the way we kind of operate. So that part's been good to see those guys and get out there and run around and kind of see what you got, because you really don't know what you have until we really won't know what we have till we get, fall camp and get the pads on and start practicing and competing against each other. Because right now it's more, skills and drills and routes on air and those type of deals, walk through. So we'll know a lot more once fall camp rolls around.
The number one thing people are talking about with this class is the 2 SEC quarterbacks you got to transfer in, with Malik Hornsby coming over from Arkansas, TJ Finley coming over from Auburn. Those are 2 quarterbacks that have played some real deal football at the P5 level. What's the competition going to look like between them in the spring or in the fall coming up?
Yeah.
Is it an open competition? I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, open competition, and you got C.J. Rogers in there too, and P.J. Hatter, and those guys are competing. Since they got here, T.J.'s been here for a little bit, and been running and lifting with us, and all that, and so that part's been good to get him in here and add him to the mix, and I think TJ, I've talked about Malik and CJ and those guys. But TJ, the thought behind that is, man, this guy's won two SEC quarterback battles. He's 6'7", he's probably 260 pounds. He can really throw the ball. So I think he was a no-brainer for us because of his ability. And I think in our system, he can be something really special. So I'm excited to work with him and see what we got. Obviously, Malik had a tremendous spring. I mean, he's a 4.3, 4.4 guy that threw the ball a lot better. This spring than maybe I even thought when we signed him. So he had a tremendous spring. Obviously, CJ just is a guy that does everything right. He's a extremely hard worker, great person. So I'm excited to see kind of what what that competition does to him, and kind of see what that looks like in fall. And then PJ Hatter's a guy that, man, like we knew he was good. You see the production at his high school at Westfield, and then you bring him on the official visit, and he's kind of a quiet guy and all that. But then you get him here, and the dude just works. I mean, he might be the hardest worker we got in that room. He might be the fastest. Everyone talks about Malik. He's actually running some faster times in certain areas than Malik is right now. So I think he's one of those guys that is going to surprise people. I don't know if it's going to be this year. I don't know if it's going to be next year. I don't know when that's going to be for him, but I think he's a guy that I was telling Coach Leftwich this morning. We were sitting there watching him work out, and I said, this guy has a chance to kind of be the face of a program at some point in his career. And so I'm really excited about him. He's really raw. He's got a lot to work on. He's got to learn a new offense. He's a freshman. So not necessarily counting on him being the guy this year, but I think he's a guy that could go in there and play if he needed to. So PJ's a big time guy and a big time addition for us. And he reminds me, I was telling Coach Leftwich, I don't know all those guys that Louisiana Lafayette had back in the day, but there's a lefty that they had that I would watch him on film, kind of run around, make plays, big time arm. Like, I could see him, being one of those guys that could be a big time player in this conference, in a couple of years.
That's high praise for PJ Hatter. I like that because I've talked about him a lot on the pod. So that's
Yeah.
good that he's catching your eye a little bit early
Yeah,
on.
for sure.
And even with the quarterback competition coming up, I mean, you got to start somebody. But is there a world where you could have a package for both of them, or not both, but multiple quarterbacks out there
Yeah.
where maybe even I've heard a Taysom Hill type package suggested or anything like that? Is that in the works?
We'll just have to see kind of how it plays out in fall camp, kind of really see what we have, because that's, I was talking to, a couple of guys, some of the newcomers, and they're asking, hey, are we going to do a leadership council this year? When are we going to vote for captains? And I said, I want to get everyone in here. I want to be around these guys. I want to go through a week of practice. I want to see exactly what we have. And before we, decide anything like that. And because that's one thing that's a little different than last year at UIW. After spring, I kind of knew who the starting five offensive linemen were. You felt really good about who your, top 4 or 5 receivers are, D linemen, those type of situations were here. Fall camp's going to be huge. It's almost like an NFL training camp. Like, you have a bunch of new guys, and let's see, who the competition part of it, who rises to the top, who's going to be that guy. Because it's different. It just is. College football is different these days, and so I'm excited that this fall camp is really is going to be like an NFL training camp. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And there's just so many positions up for grabs, which can be good and bad. But I feel really good about it. The talent level, like when you walk out there, compared to when we got here, is drastically different. So I'm really excited about that. I think the size, I think the offensive line group, when you look out there,
Man, I'm really excited about those guys. I mean, they got opportunity to be a really special group. I think the D line is getting where we want it. Guys like Jason Gold and Christian Rory that are coming in here, and you see a guy like Jason Gold like out here, winning a lot of reps, and then add him with the Revels and the Myron Warrens of and Terry Webb. Like, you starting to get some size in there, and then you add a guy like Sam Latham at the defensive end, a guy with a lot of length and size. 6'7", 6'6", 265 pounds. Like, we got some real size in there now, which is going to help us. I mean, because the more I get to know this Sun Belt conference, to be honest with you, didn't know a lot about it before kind of digging into it. It's almost kind of like a mini SEC. A lot of running the ball, play great defense. So I think we have to be built for that. It's almost like when I got the FCS job last year, the playoffs. Like, I didn't know much about the playoffs, and then I found like, okay, when you get to the playoffs, what are those teams going to do? They're going to run the ball. They're going to play great defense. You're going to play those Missouri Valley teams that are, bigger than you and necessarily don't have the skill guys that you do, but they're going to line up in 12 personnel and run the ball at you. I'm not saying that's the Sun Belt, but it's some of the teams in this conference, that's what they've been able to do is kind of line up, run the ball, play great defense. So I think our style of play is going to be unique for this conference. And I know there's some spread teams and people go fast, but I think the way we operate, especially on offense and defense, really is maybe a little bit different. So I'm kind of excited. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. We got Sun Belt Media Day coming up, but just a little bit of a preview of kind of the way my brain's thinking about this whole deal in the Sun Belt.
I love it, man. Every time I talk to you, it feels like you're playing 3D chess with everything, with
Yeah,
planning it all out.
yeah, when I'm sitting up late at night and that's kind of what I'm thinking about is, on vacation. I know we talked a little bit over vacation. Like, yeah, I was on vacation, but I was sitting in my beach chair. I wasn't reading a book. I was scrolling Twitter and trying to figure out, if anyone comes available in the portal, or, checking in, with Coach Youth, how the guys running and lifting, all that kind of stuff. Cause that's just kind of what, but that's what I enjoy doing. I would be miserable if I was doing anything. Like, I can't just sit there and like read a book or something. That's not how I'm wired. I got to be doing something, recruit somebody, or talking to Coach Leftfoot or Coach Packey about some scheme stuff. So I'm excited to get in here and get going. And we still got some coaches on vacation right now, but everyone will kind of be back in the offices Friday. We got coaching school coming up in Houston, all that kind of good stuff. We'll have a coaches retreat. We'll kind of have some team bonding activities, and obviously the guys are still running and lifting and doing all their football stuff. So it's a fun time right now. I enjoy this time of the year. I really do. You kind of change of scenery a little bit. You go on vacation, get refreshed, and kind of get ready for that grind. And a lot of people around the country have a lot of hope, so I'm excited to kind of see how things play out.
Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life, right?
Exactly right.
So we've talked about a lot of this 2023 class, and I like that you mentioned both the lines, because that's one thing that sticks out to me is how increased both sides of the lines profiles are. And you're still working on the 2023 class, from what I know. Are you still trying to bring in a few more guys before fall camp starts, or what's the situation there?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a fluid situation. There could be possibly one or two. We'll kind of see how that looks, and we're getting kind of close to time to get this thing going. So we'll see how that plays out, and kind of go from there. I don't want to tell you one thing and not be the truth. So
Appreciate that.
yeah,
For 2024 class, even when you were on vacation, like you said, you can't sit there, read a book. You're able to
yeah,
secure a few more commits, high school commits. Obviously,
yeah,
we won't talk specifics, names, or anything, but more so the strategy of the 2024 class. Seems like you can be a little more patient with it. You're not trying to bring in a bunch of transfers right away. You can almost hone in on these high school guys. Is that
yeah.
more so the strategy, or are we going to see some more transfers coming up?
No, it's definitely the strategy right now. Like I said, when I got the job, we're going to recruit Texas high school kids, and we got a couple commits right now from Texas high school kids, and you'll see a couple more, in the next couple, months, weeks probably. But we want to be patient. We want to get the right guy. I told, I don't know. I've talked to you about it before, but the senior eval part for me is huge. I don't think we're in a situation where we have to get 15, 20 kids committed before their senior year. I think a lot of times guys basically tell kids to commit just to secure their spot and all that. I want a kid that if he's going to commit, he's committed to Texas State. He wants to be here. He wants to be part of our program, not just securing a spot. So, we got a couple guys that we feel really good about. We got some more that are going to be coming, at the end of July and at an event we're going to have. So that'll be good just to be back around their families and as many times we can get these guys on campus and around our staff and around our players. That's really what sells this thing, because this is a beautiful spot. We got great coaches, we got great facilities, we got everything you need to have a championship caliber roster, but we just got to get these guys here and grind it out and out relationship guys. So I would say, I don't know the exact number, but we're going to take quite a few high school kids. Is that 15? Is that 20? Is that 10? I don't know exactly what that number is going to look like. December is always a crazy time of the year, and guys coaching changes and decommits and guys become available. So we always want to hold some spots there, and we're going to recruit JUCOs, and we're going to recruit the portal. A lot of guys that like a Bo Corrales that went off to North Carolina and wanted to come back home, and we're going to save some spots for guys like that. So we're going to be patient. We want to get the right guys. I just don't feel comfortable loading up right now. When I want to see some senior eval. I want to get the right guys.
Yeah, it makes sense. You want to see how they perform their final year of high school. Obviously, it won't be another 50-man class, I'm assuming, for 2024.
No, not another 50-man class. Not as much hibachi and good spots to eat. But we'll still have those OVs and bring those high school kids in and show them around and do all that stuff. So we'll still have the official visits, just won't be as many.
I've talked a lot about the new guys and the future guy, the potential new guys, for the 2024 class. But what about some of these guys that were on the team last year that are still there making an impact? You've talked about Ashton Hawkins, Jordan Revels, just some of these guys that Torrey Spears. He'll be at Media Day at the end of this month. What have they brought to this team and their experience here, their leadership here? What's the good thing about having some of those guys still hang around?
Yeah, if you feel the computer shaking or some banging, our guys are doing some power cleans right below me. So the first day I was in there, I was like, "What is going on?" I was about to take cover, but so sorry about that if it's messing it up.
No worries.
But start with a guy like Ashton Hawkins. I think his body has changed dramatically, and maybe his mindset has changed dramatically. Since we got here, watching him, run out there today with his shirt off. I mean, he's changed his body, and that's a credit to him. I told this story, at the kind of the coaching stops, the speaking engagements that I had, but he's a guy that, maybe he's always kind of done enough to stay eligible in the classroom, but he's a guy now that is competing in the classroom as well. And I think that's going to translate to the field. He had a pretty good semester, this spring. And I asked him, I said, "Is that your best, semester you've had in college?" And he's like, "Coach, that's the best semester I've ever had in my life." So that was cool to see. And he's texted me, "Coach, I made it, to Dallas, on our break." And the relationship that I have with Ashton, I feel like is pretty special. He's a great kid and someone that we're going to lean on this year. I think he can be the one of the top, if not the best receiver in the Sun Belt. I really believe that. I think he has the ability to do that. He's not the biggest guy, but his ball skills and his quickness and he's popping a lot better. You see us tweeting about those times and stuff. Like he's popping some really good times now, where at the beginning it was good, but now he's kind of getting into that elite speed. So excited for him. There's some other guys on offense, Calvin Hill, Jeter, both of those guys have had really good summers and kind of reliable, hardworking guys that are going to, have big falls for us. Julian Ortega-Jones, another guy that kind of pops off to me, another guy that's had a good offseason, guy that doesn't talk a lot, but just kind of always does the right thing defensively. He talked about Revels. AJ Edwards is another guy that he's on the All-State hands team for stuff that he does on and off the field. So he's a guy that another guy that I have a great relationship with him, talking to him all the time, and not just about football stuff too. So really excited about him. Tori Spears is going with us to media day, a guy that for me, Tori, I got here, didn't really know much about some of these guys, and the more I'm around him, I mean, he has an NFL body. I mean, he's 6'4", over 200 pounds. He had production last year, so and he was a guy that when I got here, probably had the opportunity to go somewhere else, but I think the opportunity to play for Coach McCoyle, Coach Dexter McCoyle, a 6'5" safety himself that's kind of proved it at the highest level, and to play in our defense, and kind of he saw the culture that we were bringing. For him to stay, I think spoke volumes, and he's a guy that's done everything we've asked him to this point, and he wasn't able to participate fully in the spring, but he was always out there, and he was getting his reps behind and getting the mental reps, and then towards the end got those physical reps. So he's a guy that we're hoping to be a leader of this team, and so really excited about him. Brian Holloway's another guy at the linebacker position that he's a guy that just, man, he's a winner, and you talk about a guy like Lindsey Scott. I could see him kind of having that effect on the defense. I mean, he was winning all the reps today in the sprints, and he's he knows the defense inside and out. I think him and Coach Packey have a really good relationship. You can see that translate to the field, and CJ Williams is another guy that's kind of stuck out to me. He's stood out to me. He's a guy that can really run and really hit. He's a very physical linebacker. So Myron Warren, another guy that at that D tackle position that didn't get to play a lot last year, obviously signed with the University of Texas out of high school, so there's some talent there. So there were some pieces here when I got here, but I think what we've been able to bring in to amplify that, and continue to build this and get the guys that we want in here, and guys that fit our system and our scheme has really been fun, and so I'm excited to kind of see where this thing goes. I know there's a lot of projections and a lot of stuff out there, but I think we're a pretty unknown team, to be honest with you, and I can see some of those projections. I see why people are saying that, but we're going to have a big time chip on our shoulder, and we're using all that for fuel and to motivate these guys and get them going. But I think when we roll out there and you see the guys, and if you come to a fall camp practice and you come to those first couple of games, I think guys are going to teams and fans and everyone involved is going to kind of see a difference in the caliber of players we have.
Yeah, it's the unknown, like you just said, because even though there is still a good mix of guys that we just talked about that were here last year and years prior, it's all those new guys. So it's about 50-50 new and old. So it is really unknown. So I think it is unfair to project. I feel that people look at it, myself included, and see that really tough schedule coming up. Yeah. And that's the part that kind of gives them concern, is that when you look at the schedule, I already kind of know what your answer is going to be. Does it concern you at all when you see how tough it is, that strength of schedule?
Yeah, I think in college football these days, it's so hard to project year to year what these teams are going to be. I mean, you think a team, just because they were good last year, that can drastically change from year to year. A team that wasn't very good can be really good. So I found that out in the Southland last year. There were some teams that were dominant factors in that division a year ago, but the way the portal is nowadays, and if your strategy as far as a coach, like you can have very up and down years in the portal. So I think we'll have to just kind of wait and see what these teams are, and that's everyone included from in the Sun Belt, the non-conference. I mean, it just top players are leaving, and we had top guys that went on to different programs and all that. So it's just no one's gonna really know, I don't think, until they get out there and kind of see what they have. And you have coaches leaving and all kinds of stuff. So I think everything just changes year to year now in college football. It's not what it used to be. And got a team like TCU went to a national championship. That stuff changes year to year. You just don't know what it's going to look like. And that's why you play the game.
Yeah, the ever-changing landscape of it. It's one of the things I love the most, is you got to keep on your toes and stay up to date with everything that's changing. With some of those changes, how much did NIL play a factor when you're recruiting some of this big, massive class? Were you able to tell guys, hey, there might be opportunities here for that? Because I know other bigger programs have that for these guys. I was just wondering if there's the same situation for the Bobcats.
Yeah, we're definitely getting into the NIL world now. That's, we the Victory Star and Janelle Fitzgerald and she's kind of that person for us, and Austin Elrod and their group. And so I'm not necessarily allowed to talk to them about the NIL. I can tell them, hey, we have the opportunity to have NIL here now, which there was none before. And I think that's something big that, whoever's listening to this podcast, is we need some help in that area, and it's getting there. We're able to do some stuff, but we need to do more. And you see some teams like, some teams that I'm recruiting against and trying to beat out, they have some stuff right now, and we're getting there, but not where it needs to be. So that's part of college football, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, believe in it or not. It's here, and it looks like it's here to stay. So we beat some teams, to be honest with you. There's a couple that come to the top of my mind. We beat with no NIL, but the relationship part of it. So you can still out relationship people in the recruiting process. You can still people, that's not the most important thing, but it is the most important things to some recruits. It really is. So it's one of those situations where we're going to do our best to stay competitive, and I think we can do that here. I think that's another one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Texas State, because you look at the alumni and the number of alumni that we'll have, and the type of area it is. We have the opportunity to be one of the dominant NIL factors in the group of five. So we just need to continue. I think winning helps that. I think getting people excited and scoring points and kind of seeing the caliber of athletes that we can bring to Texas State, especially if we get the NIL, get it going like we need to do it. Shoot, watch out.
How can what can fans do to help? Like you're saying, you need some more support, some people listening. What could they do?
Yeah.
Is there a fund that they could go donate to, or
yeah, the Victory Star collective that we have, and there's going to be some more information coming out in the next couple of months with those guys. We're just getting started with this deal. And I don't want to say anything I'm not supposed to say. I don't know all the ins and outs yet. So still working all that stuff out. But the Victory Star and Austin Elrod and Janelle Fitzgerald, they're getting that thing going, and we're going to have some events coming up and some ways that the fans can help. So I'm really excited about that. And obviously I'm concentrating on the football part of it and the recruiting, but they're kind of getting that thing going. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, well, you let me know when you have some details. I'll help out any way
sure.
I can. Plug it in
For
on
sure.
on the Win Now or Get Bent pod.
I like it. I like it.
So this month we've got you've got another recruiting camp towards the end of the month. I think right before that is Sunbelt Media Day. What about fall camp? When's fall camp getting started?
Yeah, we'll crank that off at the beginning of August, and obviously you have your report date and all your meetings, and so we'll get that going. And fall camp's always, man, that's an exciting time of the year. You get to, first couple of days with no pads, but you really get to kind of start seeing and seeing the team develop and seeing the leadership, like you talked about, kind of rise to the top and who those guys are going to be. So fall camp's always an exciting time. It's a grind, but that's one thing that I believe in is, we're not going to keep these guys up here till 10 o'clock at night and do all that. We're going to, sleep is a very important, part of it. And I think some people overlook that and the recovery part of it. And we kind of get in, we get our work done on the field. We get out, it's a great time for meeting times and making sure these guys are fueling their bodies the way they need to fuel it, and hydrating and getting the proper sleep. So that's some things that we'll talk about, once fall camp rolls around with these guys and all that, because everything matters, in college football when you're competing. Small details, the way, we talk about habits reflect the mission, your everyday habits and how you conduct yourself on an everyday basis matters. Everything matters in college football. So even the small details. So that's one of the things that we're going to harp on, and hopefully, guys will see a change in their body, and that's really when you get the buy-in, is when they see the change and like, oh, I feel better, my body feels better, I'm running faster times, I'm stronger now than I ever was. That's when you get the buy-in and the belief, and that's why those first couple games, last year when I was at UIW, we played Southern Illinois the first week of this, the season, and they were a top 10 team, and projected to do all this, and we had them at home and kind of got after those guys, and you almost got that instant buy-in, one of those type situations. So we got to, like you talked about, that we have a very tough schedule, and we play some really good teams and throughout the season. So going out there and playing well and getting one of those victories early on is going to be big time for us.
Yeah, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? That's
Exactly right.
Something I've heard a lot. For going through the off season, with getting here in December, and I'll wrap this up here pretty quick. I know you have a 30-minute out. You starting in December, coming all the way to now. What has been your main takeaway being here in San Marcos and getting to know this area and kind of understanding the lay of the land? What's been your big takeaway the last 8 months?
I think the people, you have great people here. It's almost like it's a small town, which I really enjoy. It's a small town, but you're right next to Austin. You're close to San Antonio. It's a college town. It's a true college town. You have the square and all that. So, and that was part of the reason why I wanted to, I didn't necessarily know about the small town feel, but I like that. I'm from Mesquite originally, but I went to Canton, I went to Gilmer. So it's one of those situations where that's fine. I'm used to having a square. Canton has a square, Gilmer has a square. I'm used to that. So that part of it's good. I think people are hungry to win. That's the one thing that we have all these events and have all this. The coaching engagements and the speaking engagements, and I talked to them, and afterwards be like, we've heard this before, what's going to be different, but it is going to be different. It is, and I'm excited. People are hungry for a winner, and we're going to be able to deliver that for them. It's just gonna, I don't know, like I said, is it going to be this year? Is it going to be week 1? Is it going to be week 8? I don't know when that flip is, that switch is going to flip, but it's going to happen. And we have a great team. We have great coaching staff. We have great administration. We got Kelly Danfus, who's a rock star. Like, this thing is heading in the right direction. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm hoping it happens week 1. So we're definitely putting in the work, and there's a lot of excitement around the building. So we'll see what happens, but that's that fall camp, like you said, is going to be big.
I'm excited too. I think you're getting here at the right time, GJ. It feels like it's all accumulating perfectly for your arrival. I'll end on this. We'll leave it a little light, but you've been here, like I was saying, 8 months. You got a favorite spot in town? Where do you like to go eat?
Chimmy's is a good spot. Go in there for lunch, and they have good food there. For me, Chewy's. I know that's not like a San Marcos place, but it's close to me. I eat a lot of Chewy's, which is a good spot. I'm trying to think what else. Those are probably 2 of my go-tos.
See, I ask you about football and it's rapid fire. You got a bunch of answers. I ask you
Yeah.
about food and you're like, oh man, I'm too busy
Yeah.
drawing up
To
plays in my mind.
Yeah, I don't really, and to be honest with you, I don't do a bunch of like going out and eating and stuff like that either. Just a head coach talk. People either go get the food for me, or I'm kind of like at home, and it kind of just arrives and there's there. So I don't do a whole bunch of going out and doing that kind of stuff. But that's probably where it's at.
What a life. I wish I had that going for me. Just somebody bring me some food sometime. The
Yeah.
only time I get that treatment is when I go to your press conferences and
Yeah, there you go.
Chris Coots has a nice meal ready for us.
That's
so.
good. Hey, that is important. It really is.
Man, did you see any Coots' pictures on top of Africa? On top
That
of
was
Mount
pretty.
Kilimanjaro, I should say.
That was pretty impressive.
Man, you
Like,
got a heck of an SID there.
there's no doubt he's in shape, and man, I gotta maybe I need to do that. To be honest with you, I went horseback riding in Michigan, and the weight limit was 250 pounds, for the horses, and I'm like, 250, I'm not even close to that. And I got up on the scale, and I was pretty close. For the first, I wasn't 250. I was 240 on the dot, and I'm going, well, my playing weight was about 215. So maybe I need to stop going out and eating some of these spots and go on a diet or something. I don't know. The official, when you sign that many kids, I guess that's what happens.
Dude, they're gonna put you at tight end at
No
240.
doubt.
That's pretty crazy.
One of my first offers was linebacker. Brent
Yeah.
Venables, he's known for, signing, athletic quarterbacks and putting them at linebacker. And that's what one of my first offers was from Oklahoma when he was there at the DC. And he thought I would be a great time, big time, great linebacker, and talked to me about the vision. And I don't want any part of that, coach. I'm sorry, appreciate the offer, but I don't want to play linebacker.
You gotta get in the glory spot under center. You
Exactly.
can't be smashing
Exactly.
heads at linebacker.
No,
Although you did play a lot of positions, even
yeah.
in the NFL. And
Yeah. And I
and
think, I'm a coach's kid, and, I played defense in high school. I played some safety. My dad would put me in there on, when we played a really good team and they threw the ball a lot, I'd go back there at safety and play some defense and all that. So that was one of the, if you want to get into a story. So when I got cut by the Eagles in 2015, I had a workout with the New York Giants. This was, I think they had just got done with training camp. This was about to, right before week 1 started. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys. My agent calls me and says, "Hey, you got to work out with the Giants." So up to that point with the Eagles, I'd played quarterback and receiver. So I asked my agent, like, "Hey, is this workout for quarterback? Is it receiver?" And he was like, "I don't know. They didn't tell me." So I get there. I do the quarterback, I do the receiver, I'm walking out, we run a 40, we do all that kind of good stuff. Come off the field, and then the defensive group's going out to work out. And Steve Spagnuolo is the DC at the time, who's the DC for the Kansas City Chiefs. He comes over and he's like, "Hey, I was with the Eagles at one point. Those guys speak really highly of you. Have you ever played any defense?" And I said, in high school, my dad, was a defensive guy, so I played a little defense. He's like, "Hey, come jump in this safety workout." And obviously, I just ran a 40. I was a little tired, to be honest with you.
well, the GJ Kinne Zoom call dropped out. Thanks to GJ for hopping on the pod. It was good to catch up with him. As disappointing as it is to cut off that last story he was telling, it's more of a reason why we need your help on that Patreon so we can afford things like, a longer Zoom session. So check us out, patreon.com/windnoworgetbent. It was like we were talking about that Discord channel. Be more involved in the pod. Tell us more about some of your gripes. Like, hey, why isn't this interview as long as it should be? So jump on there, help us out, help us grow. With video and everything, things just get more complicated. Before, when I was doing it just audio only, hop on the phone with somebody, no problem, no time limit. But now whenever we have to film these, it does just extra cost that goes involved in it, and extra time and all that stuff that Webb has to do on his end for sure. But thank you, sickos. Appreciate you tuning in. Win now or get bent.